Decoded.
Welcome, curious minds, to Book Decoded. Ever feel like figuring out how to fuel your runs is more confusing than your GPS watch sometimes?
Happens to the best of us.
Well, grab your mental water bottle, because today we're diving into Renee McGregor's brilliant book, Fuel for Thought, a practical guide to fueling for your adventures.
And Renee really knows her stuff.
Yeah.
We're talking a top-tier sports dietitian, specialist in eating disorders, over 20 years experience.
Yeah, working with Olympians, ballet dancers. She's a leading voice on REDs, female hormones in sport. Pretty impressive.
Totally. So our mission today...
Simple, really. We're pulling out the key stuff, the actionable tips, sidestepping those common fueling myths. Think of it as your shortcut to fueling smart without all the confusing jargon.
And the first thing that jumps out in the book is how McGregor tackles this flood of nutritional advice runners face. It's overwhelming.
Right. She talks about this capitalist machine, influencers selling quick fixes.
Exactly. And these dieting programs that honestly kind of want you to fail so you keep buying in. Plus, magazines and websites going for clickbait over actual good advice.
So this runfluencer phenomenon,
Right.
It's like we're only seeing the shiny, filtered version, not the actual hard yards.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
McGregor points out that many might not grasp things like training age, basically, how long you've actually been training consistently.
Or periodization, planning your training phases.
Yeah, exactly. And without that context, the advice they give about training load or what your body should look like or how much to eat, it can be totally unrealistic.
And the worry is people getting bad advice from, unqualified folks or even pros talking outside their lane.
It leads to so much confusion, potentially even harm, which brings us nicely to understanding yourself as a runner.
Ah, yes, the runner types and that training age concept. Seems fundamental.
It really is. McGregor's clear. If you run, you're a runner. Simple, but knowing your journey, that's key.
So training age is just how long you've been doing it consistently.
Yep. And it hugely impacts what load your body can take. She even shares her own story, starting running for Headspace, connecting with nature.
And slowly building up, right, after being active as a kid.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Swimming, dancing, hockey, that all builds a foundation. But the running progression was gradual up to marathons and ultras. It shows that experience counts.
And she breaks down runner types too, like recreational, regular.
Yeah, in a table.
Yeah.
Recreational might be about fitness, social side, mental health. Regular is more structured, maybe thinking about races. Professional is, full-time athlete stuff. Different aims, different needs.
That case study she mentions, the woman wanting to do a huge ultra with hardly any background.
Oh, yeah. Minimal experience, recurring injuries tied to low hormones, not fueling enough.
Yeah.
It's a real wake-up call about matching ambition to reality, right? Building that base first.
It's that aha moment of figuring out where you fit.
Definitely.
Okay, let's tackle that big one. The lighter equals faster idea. It's everywhere.
Ugh, it is. But McGregor's response is perfect. Until it doesn't.
Love that.
She really pushes back against this societal pressure for a certain body type. Her line, "Your body is the least interesting thing about you." So powerful.
It really is.
Her point is, when you focus on eating for performance, fueling properly around your runs, your body composition often sorts itself out naturally.
So it flips that whole move more, eat less thing on its head for active people.
Pretty much. For runners, it's often move more, but eat the right stuff at the right time.
And that young fell runner example, performing well but struggling with body image.
Yeah, it shows how restriction, even if you think it's working, can eventually wreck your performance and lead to injuries. It's about fueling, not starving.
Makes total sense. What about running apps? They're so convenient, but McGregor seems cautious.
Very cautious. They're accessible, sure, but the lack of personal touch, of tailored advice, that's the problem.
Like that London Marathon example. The app didn't know her history or anything.
Exactly. No idea about her lack of experience, previous injuries, not even her menstrual cycle. Led straight to injury and cycle changes.
Wow.
And she mentions seeing loads of people, just in early 2024, with injuries or metabolic issues directly from using generic app plans.
So a real coach, someone who actually gets you, that's still key.
Absolutely. Someone who tailors the plan to your goals, your life.
Okay, shift gears slightly. Continuous glucose monitors, CGM, suddenly feels like everyone's tracking blood sugar. What's McGregor's take?
Well, she brings some needed perspective. For most healthy people, the body's amazing at managing blood sugar with insulin and glucagon. fluctuations are normal.
The CGMs might cause unnecessary worry.
Yeah, potentially creating anxiety about being slightly out of some arbitrary normal range. And interestingly, for runners, high glucose can sometimes mean stress hormones because they haven't fueled enough.
That's counterintuitive.
Right. Her main concern is the lack of transparency. Who are these really for? Mostly folks managing type 2 diabetes or insulin resistance, not necessarily your average healthy runner.
Good point. Okay, the fuel itself. Carbs, protein, fat. What are the headlines for runners here?
Headline number 1, carbs are king. McGregor's super clear on this.
They break down to glucose, fuel muscles, and brain.
Exactly. Stored as glycogen. But, and this is key, those stores are limited. You can burn through them pretty fast, especially with intense or long runs.
And she gives guidelines for intake based on training.
Yeah, general ranges like low intensity or rest days, maybe around 3 grams per kilo of body weight. An hour of moderate running bumps it up to 5-7 grams per kilo. Go longer or harder, 1-3 hours, you're looking at 6-10 grams. Really long stuff, 4-6 hours plus, needs 8-12 grams per kilo.
That's quite a range.
It depends on the work you're doing. And importantly, she clarifies that storing extra carbs temporarily is normal. It doesn't automatically mean weight gain. It's just your body stocking up.
Got it. And protein, not the main fuel usually.
Mostly for repair and adaptation after the run. Muscles need rebuilding. The exception might be really long ultras with lots of downhill where there's more muscle breakdown.
So aim for protein at each meal.
That's the advice. Meat, fish, eggs, tofu, nuts, beans, dairy. Skimmed milk powder is actually a good budget tip she gives to boost protein.
And fats. Essential, but maybe not right before a run.
Exactly. Fats are crucial for absorbing certain vitamins, providing essential fatty acids for recovery, immunity, reducing fatigue. But they digest slowly.
So save them for meals, not pre-run snacks.
Pretty much. Though she does mention saturated fat and dairy having some protective qualities.
Okay, moving on to the small but mighty stuff. Right. Micronutrients. Iron, vitamin D, B12. Why are these extra important for runners?
Well, runners just tend to need more. Iron, for instance, you need it for red blood cells to carry oxygen. Training increases turnover, you lose some in sweat, maybe tiny amounts in the gut. Women lose it through menstruation.
And low iron can even mean higher risk of stress fractures.
Yeah, low ferritin levels are linked to that. So getting enough iron red meat is best absorbed, but also egg yolks, pulses, leafy greens, fortified foods is vital. And vitamin C helps absorption.
Okay, vitamin D.
Crucial for bones because it helps absorb calcium, but also muscle recovery, immune health, appetite, even mood. She suggests a maintenance dose, maybe 2,000 IU of D3, aiming for blood levels over 90 and a mole, ideally.
And B12, especially for plant-based runners.
Big one for them, yeah. B12 is key for nerves, immunity, energy, healthy blood cells. Since it's mainly in animal products, plant-based runners really need to watch it. Supplements or fortified foods like nutritional yeast are important. Deficiency can cause nasty symptoms like numbness, weakness, balance problems.
Good to know. She also covers ergogenic aid supplements that might help performance.
Yeah, a quick rundown. Caffeine,
Yeah.
pretty well supported, 3 to 6 milligram per kilo body weight. About an hour before exercise can help endurance and focus.
Creatine.
Creatine monohydrate can help muscle uptake, especially with carbs. Good for recovery and strength. Just need to be careful with sourcing for elite athletes due to anti-doping rules.
Collagen. Beetroot. Cherry juice.
Collagen, maybe 10-15G bovine type for joints, or 5G morning and evening for bone health, potentially helpful for older runners or those with low bone density. Beetroot juice shows promise for endurance. Tart cherry juice, like an ounce twice daily around big events, might help sleep and reduce muscle soreness.
Okay, bringing it all together, practical fueling strategies.
The main thing is planning carbs around your trainings, the frequency, duration, intensity.
And carb loading for races.
Yeah, for races over 10K usually. Starting a few days before, upping the percentage of carbs, not necessarily total calories, focusing on easy to digest stuff.
What about fueling during a long run?
Generally, if it's high intensity over 45 minutes or moderate over 90 minutes, you need fuel. Aim for maybe 40-60 grams of carbs per hour, starting 20-30 minutes in. Ultras need even more, maybe 60-90 grams an hour.
Don't forget hydration.
Absolutely crucial. Sip fluids regularly, maybe 100-250 milliliters every 20 minutes. And electrolytes, especially sodium, become really important in longer events, maybe 700-900 milligrams per liter of fluid for ultras.
And she notes women might need more carbs and sodium at certain times of their cycle.
Yes, specifically during the luteal phase, the second half. Something to be aware of.
Okay, that was a lot of fantastic info. If you're listening and thinking, where do I even start? What are maybe 2 or 3 key takeaways from McGregor's book?
I'd say first, be critical about where you get your running advice. Question the runfluencers. Look for qualified sources. Don't fall for unrealistic promises.
Good one. What else?
Second, really try to understand your context. What's your runner type? What's your training age? Tailor your goals and your fueling to your reality, not someone else's.
Right. And maybe third?
Prioritize fueling for performance. Don't get sucked into restrictive diets thinking it's the only way. Often, fueling properly lets your body adapt and perform better, and body composition follows. Listen to your body and don't ignore those micronutrients.
Fantastic summary. This has been really insightful digging into Renee McGregor's wisdom. Hopefully this book Decoded Chat has given everyone a clearer, maybe more positive and less, overwhelming view on fueling those runs.
So maybe a final thought to leave you with. Thinking about your own running, your own relationship with food, what's maybe one small, informed change you could try this week, based on what we've discussed, to fuel your runs more effectively, maybe even more joyfully?
Excellent food for thought. Thanks so much for joining us for this deep dive into fuel for thought. If this sparked your interest, definitely check out Renee's book for all the details. Until next time, happy running and smart fueling.